Let's try it again. Big Still, National Football Show. Appreciate everybody coming aboard here. Thank you so much for stepping in with us. And I know we're having some issues here with the YouTube channel now, so we're trying to work through this right now as much as we possibly can. I appreciate everybody coming in, and thank you very much for those of you that are on our Facebook page right now. I thank you guys so much. YouTube is not up and running, and now it looks like we are good now. Fantastic. Appreciate everybody coming aboard. Thank you guys for being patient as you always are. Hey, you know modern technology today, right? Oh, what up, Showtime? Hey, man, I'm sitting here. Tone, myself, and Xander are like, hey, man, we're just like pawns in this whole world that we're now in with these new platforms. So what up, Gigi? Appreciate everybody coming in. I got my aunt texting me too. Tone, just so you know, she's like, hi. And I'm like, relax. My boys are working on it, man. My boys are working on it. The woke mom probably cancel cultured them. Hey, please don't say that. YouTube consumer here. Smile. Thanks for coming aboard, man. Whoa, Steven, thank you for coming aboard and being patient with us, man. Changing my phone in the meantime. Hang on, Gigi. We're here. We're all good, man. Thanks so much for coming aboard. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to restart it, reboot it like we just did the show here. So we're going to kind of start right from the beginning once again here. Okay. I mean, look, we're 7 days out from the start of training camp. 7 days. 7 days out from the start of the National Football League. By the way, that's just for the Eagles. Look who's showing up today, rookie-wise. Rookies are showing up at these camps right now as we speak. Falcons, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Gigantes, Jets. All the rookies and free agents are showing up to those NFL camps today. Season really begins. We're here, man. We're here. By the way, I want to reset also wishing Rachel Robinson a very happy birthday. Rachel Robinson and the Robinson family have been very close to me since I was a young kid, went to high school with some of the kids. My father, as I've told you before, played golf with JAKIB Robinson at Hubbard Heights in Stanford. That's where Jackie made his residence. That's where Rachel Robinson lives right now, is the town that Gary Cobb and I were raised in, Stamford, Connecticut. I was born, or I think Gary was born someplace else, but was raised in Stanford. And I think he knew also the Robinson family. So we want to wish Rachel Robinson a very happy 100th birthday today. Never forget, man, that guy you talk about one of the most influential people in the history of American sports. JAKIB Robinson was one of those. So number 42, that's right, Smile. I mean, to have met the man as a young kid around my father when he was playing golf with him, what an honor. All right. I did also start, hey, is this more a reflection on Devontae Smith or on Jalen Hurts here? Madden Rankings came out. And wide receivers. These are the wide receivers that are rated ahead of Devontae Smith. Glad to see you too, GT. Steven, I'm so fired up. By the way, Mario Cristobal, the head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes, will be with us in hour number 3. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern. You guys want to know about Tyler Van Dyke? Maybe he's the guy that could be potentially the starting quarterback in Philly. Is that somebody that you might be interested in? Remember something. Mario Cristobal also coached Justin Herbert at Oregon. So this guy knows quarterbacks. And we'll get his perspective on Tyler Van Dyke and also the landscape of college football. We'll talk to him 5:30 Eastern in hour number 3. By the way, little programming note. Tomorrow, we will have on with us, we will have Seth Joyner. By the way, Tone, great announcement today. I'm going to show you the preeminent post-game show for Eagle football in the entire area and maybe even in the country when it comes to Eagle football. Here is the new post-game show here. You are going to have Mike Missinelli. You're going to have D. Gunn. You're going to have so much coverage here. Seth is going to be there, man. I mean, look at that, right? Devin's there too. I mean, this is going to be wall-to-wall coverage there, and fantastic that we're going to have this post-game show. There is not going to be a post-game show in the city of Philadelphia that will rival what these guys are going to bring. Great insight, opinions, which we love. Fantastic stuff. Great job by JAKIB Sports in making that happen. We'll keep giving you guys some love here and making sure you know that this is going to be the best post-game show. I can't wait to listen to it too, by the way. Okay, I really can't. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Tone. So, again, we are looking forward to the start of the National Football League season. Again, 7 days out from the start of training camp. And here we are already. I mean, look at these teams already that are showing up, like I said. Falcons, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Giants, Jets. Rookies and free agents are showing up today to those teams' training camps. We're here, man. Started the NFL. I know the All-Star games tonight, which I'll watch because I love the All-Star game. It's the best All-Star game of all professional sports. I'll watch the thing. I love the All-Star game. But quite frankly, this is the front page now. This is the front page. So we're looking forward to it. By the way, we are going to preview week 4 now because we've been going through all the teams that the Eagles are going to play. And today, it's Doug Peterson's Jacksonville Jaguars. Can Doug turn that franchise around? I'm going to talk about the Jags here in a second, and we'll get the perspective here a little bit on where I think that franchise is going. Let me say this to you, okay? Doug Peterson is the best hire the Jacksonville Jaguars have had since Tom Coughlin. And I would say since Tom Coughlin first time around. When Tom helped build that organization the right way, Tony Baselli was the number 1 overall selection by the organization. They went out, got a free agent quarterback, and Mark Brunell from the Green Bay Packers brought him in. And they really won a lot of ball games. That was a really good era of football that they had with Fred Taylor and those guys. That Jags football team, little bit, tiny bit with Doug Marrone, not a lot. But really, Tom Coughlin, when he first initially got that coaching job and was really in charge of the personnel, that was a pretty good football team. And they got off to a really good start. You know, the one thing that they did for that Jacksonville team that they didn't do for the Buccaneers in Seattle, they gave them a chance to compete. Also Carolina, too. Let's not forget Jake Delhomme got to a Super Bowl. Jake Delhomme was a heck of a football player, okay? So those organizations, Carolina more so than anything, has had a decent run for being one of the latest expansion teams. However, the Jaguars have been a train wreck. I saw something with Jaguar fans that Doug Peterson's going to have to deal with here, okay? Here's one thing's for sure, okay? If you put Gator tickets on the table or you put Jacksonville Jaguar tickets on the table, what do you think that community in Jacksonville and the surrounding parts are going to pick up? What would you think that most of the fans there? I've had this question asked to me, and I already know it. If I put Jacksonville Jaguar 2022 Doug Peterson tickets on the table and I had Florida Gator tickets right next to him, what do you think the fan base in that area would grab? They would grab Gator tickets. 75,000 at the Swamp all the time. All the time. 75 to 80,000 fans are in that building at all times. It's a Gator country. Gator, Bulldogs, then Jaguars when we're talking football, okay? Maybe even Florida State would rival a little bit of Jaguar fan base. Can he change that dynamic? We'll see. Professional football in Jacksonville has not been a fan-friendly thing. Doug's got quite a task. He goes from a city like Philly, where the Eagles are everything, to a city you would think in the South, in the deep South, where pro ball would mean everything. It doesn't. It's college football. Jacksonville is Gator country. It's not Jaguar country. He's got to try to change that around a little bit. So we're going to get into that here in a minute. I do want to go back to this thing here. I know the Madden thing's kind of like, it's kind of hokey. It's a game, this and that. But this is what I was talking about yesterday. Tone, I was talking about this. You know what the biggest nightmare would be for Howie Roseman and the Eagles? Is that you don't take advantage of A.J. Smith and Devontae, or A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's the biggest nightmare. That's the biggest nightmare. You put a first-round draft choice up with Devontae Smith, and you spent $100 million on one guy. And if that quarterback can't utilize those two guys and Dallas Goedert, Houston, you got a problem. You don't want to come away from this year with this. A.J. Brown's got a little over 1,000 yards and 68 catches and 6 touchdowns. That's a shitty year for that. I wouldn't accept that year. How about this? If A.J. Brown has 70 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns, that's a failure year. If Devontae Smith comes in at 70 catches with 850 or 870 or 900 yards, that's a failure year in year 2. It's not on him, I don't think. I think Dallas Goedert is going to turn into Zach Ertz. He's going to be a comfort zone. He's going to be a security blanket. He's probably going to catch 90 catches this year. I think Dallas Goedert has a chance of going 90 and 1,200 yards. I don't know how many touchdowns, but I think Dallas Goedert has a shot at 90 and 1,200 yards. I do. I think he's going to be utilized a lot in this upcoming offense. Howie's biggest nightmare, Sills, doing post-game. Thank you, sub. We're talking about Football Sunday Eagle streams with a full panel when season starts. No fishing on Sundays for football season. Maniac, absolutely, right? And if you do fish, you better get out early, right? Danny, hey, we're a week out now. It's time to stop talking shit on guys, making topics up, you know? We're in a holding pattern. I was telling Tone that. We're in a holding pattern here now. It's time to go to work. You got teams that having players show up today. Okay? Tanner, thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button, guys. All right, I want to get into the Jaguars and Doug Peterson and his football team and what challenges he has moving forward. Look, I think that Shea Khan, the owner of the Jaguars, who is one of the richest owners in the National Football League, I think this guy truly wants to win, and I believe that this guy truly wants to keep the team in Jacksonville. I think it was a massive mistake to put a football team in Jacksonville. They've really never embraced it. I told you a little bit about why they haven't embraced it. It's Gator country. You know, they play on the same grounds as the old Gator Bowl. They've never just been able to really shake the Gators loose and never been able to really be a football team that has galvanized the community. You know what's great about it, though? When they do win, they do show up. When you have things in the building that people want to come and see, when they had Fred Taylor, the great running back from the Gators, who was a borderline Hall of Fame type player, and they had guys like that on the football team, people went and saw the game, especially when they started winning. A lot of fans showed up. It's been very sparse in between the winning and losing. I think they had a pretty good run a couple years ago. I think they beat the Steelers up at Heinz and played in an AFC championship game. I think Blake Bortles was the quarterback of that team, if I'm not mistaken. However, Doug Peterson has a massive challenge ahead of him with what has happened with this organization, especially after the Urban Meyer disaster. So let's take a look at the 2022 Doug Peterson Jacksonville Jaguars, who will be the Eagles' opponent in week 4 of the season at Lincoln Financial. It will be the second home game of the year for the Eagles. Take a look at this. Listen, no question, the biggest hiring at head coach that organization has had since Tom Coughlin is Doug Peterson. I think Doug brings calmness. I think Doug is going to bring a professionalism to the building that they haven't had since Tom Coughlin. I think there's also going to be accountability in this building. No coach in that building is going to ask you to do something that they haven't done or he wouldn't do. That's the beauty of having a coach that's played like Doug and been a backup and been a journeyman. I think that he is a coach who's not going to not listen to his players. I think what he does is he takes all the intel from his players and then he applies it accordingly. I really love how Doug Peterson runs a football team. And him and Howie obviously had issues on what was best for the football team on Sundays. Would you guys agree that Andy Reid and Doug Peterson, if you had to pick between those two guys to coach your football team, who would you pick? Would you pick Doug or Andy? What coach would you want building your team and coaching your team? Doug Peterson or Andy Reid? I'm not saying calling plays. I'm asking you about the whole thing. Reid, Dougie P. I would want Doug Peterson as my coach. I think Doug's got a good eye for talent. I think the players understand Doug. I think Doug, when the things were going bad, I'm going to take you guys back and you tell me if Andy Reid could have dug his way out. Let me ask you something here. How do you think Andy Reid handled the T.O. Donovan McNabb story when those guys were bickering? How do you think he handled that? How do you think Andy Reid handled that? Tone says poorly. Funny, Andy Reid never gets any heat for maybe he was one of the reasons why he never won a Super Bowl in Philly. Maybe he needed to be the go-between between those two to make it work. Let me tell you something. And I use my benchmark all the time with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy could coach Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. All three different dynamic of attitudes and personalities. He knew how to handle. Personally, I don't think Andy Reid handled that thing well. I don't think he knew what was best for his team when it came to the player side of it. He came as an administrator and a coach instead of being on the other side. How do you guys think Doug Peterson handled this? Let me ask you, David. Watch this. How do you think Doug Peterson handled when the reigning favorite to win the most valuable player blows his leg out in Los Angeles at the LA Coliseum? A guy who was on his way to winning an MVP award for the Eagles at quarterback. I don't know if you've ever had one. And he's right there, 11-2, 33 touchdowns. Incredible season. You're standing on that sideline. Every single player must have went like this. Holy shit. It's over. Oh my God. It's over. Adversity hits. What does Doug do? He rallies the troops. Guys getting hurt in the O-line. Musical chair. You know what's crazy about that 2017? Okay? You know what's crazy about that 2017 Super Bowl? It was musical chairs in the O-line. You guys were as healthy as you ever been last year, and you got bounced in the opening round. You guys were a mash unit in 17 and won the thing. That's coaching. Guys must have had their heads like this, man. Seriously, dude. Okay? That's a great take by Tone. Let me read this to you. Personally, I feel Reed would have panicked if he was in Doug's shoes the Super Bowl year. That's a spectacular take. And I agree. How many times have we seen Reed panic? He's not very good with timeouts and clock management at times. How about Doug looking over? Foles walks over to the sidelines. How about the Philly special? Run it. Dude, that guy, to me, man, I think Andy Reid is a better play caller. I do. But I think Doug Peterson's a better coach. I'd rather play for him. I would rather play for him. I'd rather play for Doug Peterson than I would for Andy Reid. Ed says Frank Reich is why we won the Super Bowl, not Doug. Doug brought Frank Reich in. Doug hired him. You also get credit for putting your staff together. I didn't say Doug called the Philly special. I said Foles did. How about the Philly special? Okay. I never said he did. Here's another one for Tone. Reed and the Chiefs panicked in the Tampa Super Bowl. They sure did. O-line got decimated, lost their tackles. Almost a carbon copy of what happened to the Eagles, right? And he couldn't figure it out. You guys were losing players in the O-line left and right. And you beat the GOAT. You beat the GOAT. Bashing Andy Reid? Not bashing Andy Reid. I'm making a preference point, Chris. Somehow, making a preference point is bashing? That I'd rather be coached and play for Doug Peterson than Andy Reid? Somehow you look at that as bashing. I look at that as a preference point. That's right, man. Andy Reid hasn't beaten Tom Brady. Went into your building and took the AFC Championship away from you too. Then how about Brady? So Brady walks into your building and takes the AFC Championship away from Andy Reid. Then he beats him in the Super Bowl too. You couldn't have two more important football games in your coaching career than the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl against that guy. Dude, it's one thing to beat Nick Foles. It's another thing to beat Tom Brady. Because that'll forever... Hey, Foles, you can call him sorry, sad, starting quarterback, all this and that. I know I'm supposed to be talking about the 2022 Jags, and I'm going to get back on track here. But to say that I'm the Super Bowl MVP and I beat Brady is quite a testament. It's quite a testament. Flex goes, Andy Reid beat Tom Sills the year the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I'm talking about two of the most important games that you could possibly have. Okay? In your building. I get it. He has. Foles better than Wentz? Absolutely not. I know, Chris. It's exactly what I said. I watched the Super Bowl 4 days ago. The Eagles team was lit. They were great. Doug instilled the play into the playbook. Yeah, but, man, Foles walked over to the sidelines and calls it. Come on, man. So that hire for the Jags is spectacular. Spectacular. The running game. See, I think the Eagles, when they play them in week 4, you're going to look at a pretty decent offense. Okay, Robinson, 2020, I believe he had 1,000 yards. You get Travis Etienne finally on a football field. So you're going to get Etienne, Robinson running the football. It's a pretty decent group. That's a good bet. I'll tell you this. The running back tandem in Jacksonville is better than the one that's in Philadelphia. Robinson's a former 1K runner, and Travis Etienne, in my opinion, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And also, we're talking about a guy who can run in between the tackles. So, to me, I think there's more talent in Jacksonville running the ball. Now, I'm not telling you they got a better O-line. I'm telling you as running backs, they got a better tandem. Okay? And I agree with you, Mike. Etienne was electric in college and played with Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, obviously. Now, look, the key is clearly going to be this, the O-line. There's no doubt about it. The O-line is going to be the separating difference between the Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Eagles are the best in the business, and the Jaguars will be good because of Doug. Doug's going to take that same mentality that was in that Eagle front office, knowing you've got to have strength on both sides of the ball, your fronts. He knows that. That's going to be a priority, and it was addressed in the draft. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. Obviously, I'm going to make a prediction to you here today. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a top 10 quarterback. I do. They don't have household names at the wide receiver position or the tight end position, but I think there's going to be stability in play calling and situational play calling that's going to benefit the strengths of what Trevor Lawrence is all about. I think it was so chaotic offensively last year. When I watched Trevor Lawrence play, I had no idea what they were trying to accomplish. I couldn't tell if they were trying to establish a running attack. I couldn't tell if they were trying to establish a screen game. It was so all over the joint. There was never any continuity and really when the Eagles had to figure out when they were 2-5 that they had to run the ball, there was an identity built in the building. I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to take the ball out of the hands of Jalen Hurts. The same way they took the ball out of the hands of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. And they're going to run the ball. Why wouldn't you? Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. When those guys ended up getting injured, Brown's season went to shit. Okay? They were 2-5. They were throwing the football. They stopped throwing the football. They started winning ball games. That's what happened. There was an identity being built. When I watched the Jaguars last year, okay, when I watched them, I couldn't tell what they were trying to accomplish. One game they're here, one game they're there. They put a lot, in my opinion, on Trevor Lawrence last year. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the most gifted, talented athletes I've seen come out of college at that position in a long time. He's got every attribute. The question is he going to be able to process the intel like some of the greats? That's the issue here with him. He's got the same physical capabilities as Vinny Testaverde coming out of college. But is he going to have the brains of Tom Brady? Is he going to have the awareness of understanding where to go with the ball and pre-snap reads and all that other? He's got to show us that he can see the field. Kid's one of the biggest guys going, and there's talent. Let me throw some of the names here too. I mean, Christian Kirk, these guys are not household names, like I said. Okay? They're not. The tight end, the kid Ingram, I think that kid comes over from the Giants. These are not household name guys, but they've got players on the team and on offense. I think they're going to move the sticks. Look, I'll bury the lead here. I think the Jags are a 6-win team. Okay? If I had to take the over-under on them right now, I would say because it's Doug, take the over on the 6. Could they get 7? We never know how the season plays out. We just really don't. Okay? GT Hurts has everything you just said. He does not have an arm. He does not have arm ability. He does not. And throwing it 100 miles or throwing it 100 yards is not arm talent. That is not arm skill. He's not a professional thrower. If you took his running ability away from him. He couldn't play in the Canadian League. He has never won a game throwing the ball. That team was built on running it. Okay? It's built on running it. You think he's Trevor Lawrence skill set wise? 6'7", 235, and has all the attributes coming out of college. They compare him to Jim Kelly coming out of college and John Elway. I didn't hear anybody talking about Jalen Hurts in those comments. I'll take Foles any day. Leave my opinion alone. My guy Foles is a legend in Philly. He is. He'll never not be. Can't take that away from him. Okay? Merrill told you that he had a pro arm. Really? I named you every single football team last year that a guy had more arm talent than. There were only 5 teams that he could play on right now. He doesn't have the arm talent. And that arm talent is accuracy. That arm talent is knowing where to throw the ball, leading your receivers, pre-snap reads. All of that plays into arm talent. And you know the number one thing doesn't play into it? How many rushing touchdowns you had. That has nothing to do with it. Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts. Whew. You're right. I can't wait for the season to start. 6'6", 220. Give me and can run. William goes, why does Sills hate Hurts so? I got you winning the NFC East and going to the NFC Championship game. How is that hating the quarterback? I think he's Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl too. There's nothing wrong with that. You can get there with less guys. Nick Foles is less, shows you. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Okay, he's not. I definitely will. I'll bring that list up with Seth Joyner tomorrow when he's on the program. Arm talent includes arm strength. Dude, nobody cares if you could throw it 100 yards. They only care if you could throw it on time. Nobody in the NFL gives a shit whether you can throw it a country mile. They care you can throw it on time and make all the throws. That's arm skill. That's arm talent. Shit, he was beaten out by a guy with better arm talent in Alabama. That's a fact. It's funny. You guys make me turn around into this, and I'm talking about the damn Jaguars. You guys actually think Jalen Hurts is better than Trevor Lawrence and has more upside than Lawrence. My God. Holy cow, I can't wait for the season to start. For the Jags, okay? For the Jags. Tone says this. Question, is arm strength overrated? Tony, to be able to make all the throws, you have to have arm strength to throw the out with confidence. That's the toughest throw for quarterbacks coming into the pro game from the college game. Is that throw to the outside when that guy's got to make the cut towards the sidelines. Because how many times you see corners jump the route when a guy doesn't have arm strength? He's under the Darrelle Revis made a career out of doing that. Baiting guys who he knew didn't have arm strength. Okay? So you have to have arm strength to make all the throws. But accuracy, I'd rather take Peyton Manning did not have arm strength. Everybody knows that. But he understood where to throw the ball. He threw to areas. Why do you think he practiced 1 billion times a day with his wide receivers? To make his arm stronger? No, so that they could go and be in sequence with one another because Peyton didn't have the strongest arm. It was accuracy that they were working on, timing that they were working on. Your guy hasn't shown one ability to do that yet. And now, with the wideouts that they have, there's no excuses. Trevor has proven nothing. Neither has Jalen. Beat a team that's got a winning record. Win a game that matters. Don't be 3-4 in the NFC East. Don't throw for 200 yards a game in your 7 starts. Come on, man. You want me to go down the list? Chris, Kaepernick and Jalen's numbers are pretty comparable. Okay? Another great question by Tone. Which is it easier to build, arm strength or accuracy? See, I think it's easier to build arm strength than it is to build I think you're either accurate or you're not. I think that that's an innate ability that certain guys have. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 10 times more accurate than Tom Brady, but Brady's a superior quarterback. Why? His pre-snap preparation, his leadership and the intangibles that you talk about with Jalen all connect and all collide with one another. Brady's the only guy I've ever seen collide them all. Leadership, hardworking, and ability and talent. He connects them all. Is he the most gifted strength of arm? No. Is he the most accurate? No. Is he the most pre-snap ready? Yes. Is he the best teammate of all time? Yes. Never heard a teammate talk shit on him outside of Psycho AB. No one. Brady makes it a priority. Jalen Hurts, if you want to say this, Jalen Hurts has all of Brady's intangibles except his ability. The Jaguars on defense. This will be the liability for Doug Peterson this year. They never put a really good game together at all last year, the Jags defensively. You know, they played the bend but don't break style of defense last year. And it just never really looked good. They addressed a lot of things in the draft, obviously. Tavon Walker, then they ended up getting Devin Lloyd also to try to improve the pass rush and try to improve the defensive line play. Look, I think Walker is a good football player, but boy, I'll tell you what, the number 1 overall pick in the draft, wow. And when you look at his production when he was at Georgia, you're like this, man, he's a really good player, but the kid that's there still today is a great player. The kid, what was his name? Wyatt? That kid could play. Jordan Davis, you know, when you look at the numbers of those guys that played on that electric defense, by the way, Jordan Davis had 43 starts and 9 sacks. I don't know. That doesn't seem overly productive. However, when you play on a talented defense like that and you got great players at every single position, including the safety and linebacker position, the Kobe Dean and all those guys, your numbers may be limited because of rotation too. Okay? They had a lot of stars on that. That was one of the best defensive football teams I've seen in a long time. I think Alabama's got one this year with Will Anderson on it. But, you know, will they improve? Anytime you add talent like this. Look, I like the kid Lloyd from Utah. We had Kyle Whittingham on the other day, and I was asking him questions about it. He goes, Sills, you're going to love this guy. This guy, I talked to Doug Peterson last week, he said, and Doug's in love with him. Doug's in love with the guy. So, Dan, should we all just crap on the quarterback of the team we love? No, I didn't tell you to crap on him. Didn't tell you to do that at all. One of us is going to be right or wrong here. See what I do, I have an opinion. I'm not a cheerleader. I think you have me confused with being a guy with pom-poms. I'm not a cheerleader. Never been one, even for my own team. Let me give you a little perspective of what happened to me when I was at the QAM in Miami. I quit on the air doing my post-game show that I was hired besides doing a Monday through Friday show from 10 to 1 p.m. And you know why I quit? Because I couldn't take lying about shitty football on my alma mater and going around telling everybody it was all good. Cost me a job. Then in the end, it cost me a job because back then, Al Golden and all those guys hated my analysis because I said the team sucked and it's going nowhere under Al Golden. And that was the flagship. And that was my alma mater, who I love more than anything outside of my family. That's who I am. Okay? I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell you the way I see it. That's how I do things. Not always to my betterment. Okay? What's your point? Okay, you're talking to someone else. I do not hey, Master, why lie about something that you have a passion for? You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to see everybody win. Hey, by the way, so everyone knows, I pray to God I'm wrong. I was wrong about Lamar Jackson. I couldn't have been more. Hey, Tone, you're going to love this. I said that guy couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He'll be out of the league in 5 years. You know what he did the next year? He went 14-2, led the NFL in passing touchdowns with 36, won a unanimous MVP award, and rushed for 1,400 yards. Here's Sills doing this. Hey, I couldn't have been more wrong about that guy. I couldn't have been more wrong. And some of you will go, well, you flip-flop. No, I was wrong. There's a difference. When you admit you're wrong on something. I was wrong. I wasn't wrong on Baker Mayfield. I said the day he was drafted number 1 overall, I said that guy will not be the starting quarterback at the end of his contract. And they took a guy with 24 sexual assault cases against him and gave a guy a raise and $230 million. By the way, we got some information on that too. We're going to hear real soon. Okay? Tone goes, and that's why I respect you. Thank you, Tone. Tone, if Jalen Hurts throws for 4,400 yards and 33 touchdowns this year, and that football team wins 13 games, anybody in their right mind, and the old school idiot, you know what they do? They try to make a case on he still sucks. Like you hear Baylor's talking about LeBron. LeBron's won 4 NBA championships. He's been a finals MVP. I mean, he's taken 3 different teams to the NBA championship. You would be an idiot to think that guy's not one of the best players in the history of the sport when it comes to Jordan or him. You're out of your crazy mind, whether you like LeBron or not. You can't deny the resume and the book he built. I don't care what you think about him as politics, whatever, hoop-wise, and as an ambassador to the game, James has been the best. Stuff he does in his hometown, putting that college and all those kids, free into college, all the things he does for the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland. Come on, man. Stuff doesn't get reported. He's an ambassador. Do I like him? No. But do I love his life and what he's accomplished? Absolutely, man. The guy's built an entire resume of doing good things for others too, man. I mean, come on, man. I'm not like that. Why is it 50-50 on Hurts with everything? I don't understand what that means. Chris, thank you. Hey, Dank, LeBron, for people like Bayless to go, he doesn't have the clutch gene. He's got 4 NBA titles. I don't know how people listen to that. I'm like, okay, he's got how many finals MVPs too? Okay. Boy, you were super wrong. Hey, I really was, man. I couldn't tell you. I believe Hurts will part the Red Sea. It's not going to happen, but I still believe. KL, way to go, man. Way to be an Eagle fan. Hey, way to be an Eagle fan. Okay, so look, I think the Jags, boy, man, you know what? I say take the over on the 6 wins this year. I'm doing that because I really have great respect for Doug Peterson. You know what I'm saying? I have great respect for Doug. But I got to say, man, 6 wins is probably all I really see this year in his first season as the head coach there in Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make a gigantic leap, though, under him. I really do, man. I think he's going to have a really great year under Doug Peterson. Eagles football is less than a month away. Are you kidding me, man? 26 camp. Like I said to you, look at this already, brother. Easy money. Where is that? Here. Falcons, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Giants, Jets. Rookies and free agents show up today. They show up today. Okay? I mean, we're ready to rock and roll here, man. Don't forget Mario Cristobal. You guys want to know a little bit about Tyler Van Dyke? Okay. Once again, I want to talk a little Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Please hit the like button. We appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. We got everything back on track. Way to go, Tone. Way to go, Xander. By the way, our announcement today on having the best post-game show in Philadelphia is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Tone, throw that thing up one more time there, man. Just fantastic on what we're able to do. And like I said, too, we're going to talk with Seth Joyner. That'll be tomorrow. Look at this post-game show here, man. How great is that going to be? Devin's there, Seth Joyner, Mike Missinelli, D. Gunn. This is all going to be, in my opinion, all funneled into the JAKIB Sports channel here and what we've been able to accomplish. And it's really because of what you guys have done on us bringing all this superstar talent into our post-game show. So we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Tone. Hour number 2 coming up. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Hour 2, National Football Show. Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for coming aboard. Don't forget, hour number 3, we will have our friend Mario Cristobal, the head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes, using the nil rule to their advantage. College football. Tyler Van Dyke, could he potentially be an Eagle quarterback? We'll talk with him. That'll be in hour number 3. We look forward to talking to him. By the way, little programming note. Tomorrow, Seth Joyner, then Hollis Thomas will be with us on Thursday, rounding out the week here for us. So we look forward to having everybody jump aboard. Please, as I said, hit the like button. Little bit here on Carson Wentz. Also, AJ and Devontae, I want to hit on that. But latest on Deshaun Watson. How about the National Football Players Association coming out saying that Deshaun Watson and the Players Association are going to 100% challenge and appeal a year-long suspension? Why do you think that is? Okay? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? That you got the Players Association in a case with 24 sexual assault allegations. You know they're going to take heat. Why would the Players Association put themselves in the middle of the bullseye when they usually wouldn't? I never saw the NFL Players Association helping out Aaron Rodgers when he was battling whether or not to be vaccinated. They didn't step in, and I didn't hear a peep out of them. Or when Cole Beasley or any of those guys were battling and didn't want to be part of the vaccination program that the NFL had, I didn't hear the Players Association. But now you got the Players Association, Watson's people, the Browns staying out of it, and all of a sudden, the union is now backing Watson. Why is that? I'll tell you why. They got the goods on the Texans and the league. I guarantee you, Deshaun Watson's people were all in sequence with the NFL last year as he sat on the sidelines, active and paid. And everybody was working in theater with one another on how this was going to play out. Do you know what they're saying now? It's going to be between 2 and 8 games for a suspension. I think he's going to get a 4-game suspension, and they're going to be on their way, and the Browns would have won this thing. 4 games? Sure. They could still win that division. Jacoby Brissett's not bad. He can get through it. He's won games before. Won them in New England. Won some games in Miami. Won games in Indianapolis. He can win games. The Browns would have pulled off. They're going to take heat. Who cares? He's not going to jail. They're going to outrun this. And Browns fans, in 2 years, just like they forgot about those racist tweets from Josh Allen when he was younger on his Twitter page, they're going to fall in love with him. Okay? Browns are going to be a favorite to win the Super Bowl. That kid only gets 4 games because they got the running game and the defense. I'm telling you, man, 4 games. I do not believe it's going to be any more than that. Because guess why? They're saying that they want to go to court and they want to go to trial. That means the NFL has to talk about the things behind the scenes with the Texans. They have to talk about the case publicly. NFL doesn't want that. They're going to settle with Deshaun Watson. And you know how they're going to settle? They're going to settle on an appropriate penalty that they're all going to live with. Because they know that, get this, the only people that are screaming for a suspension are the media. It's the only people screaming. Like, if he were you or I and a grand jury didn't indict us, we'd be sent home and nobody would think a second thought of it. But because he's an NFL player and he's making all that money, the media wants this guy suspended. Well, the media may have their little hearts broken over this. Jones, appreciate you coming aboard. Flex goes, Watson lucky. His day will come. Well, it ain't today. No, still the AFC too good for them to make it to the Super Bowl. They're pretty. Hey, dude, Myles Garrett on the other side of the football. Did Clowney go back there too? I think Clowney went back to the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. So you got Garrett and Clowney on your edges, and you got Amari Cooper now in the building there for Deshaun, and you got Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Dude, you got some pretty good football players. Plus, you had the second or third best O-line in the NFL. That's a pretty talented team. Sills, I went to the Coughlin the other day. Pizza was different. No way, man. Don't tell me that, man. It's legendary pizza. If you were innocent, would you settle? Yeah, Steven, I would, because you know why? In the court of public opinion is where he's being charged and where he's being judged, not in the courtroom. See, in the courtroom, right now, doesn't matter. Court of public opinion, he's guilty either way. Whether he settles or he doesn't, he's guilty. So why not just make it go away? He can't win that in the court of public opinion. You see, the court of public opinion today in sports, and really anything, is superseding and outweighing truth in many ways. You say something enough, you keep saying it, sure enough, people start believing it. And then before you know it, there's a narrative built around it that he has to be suspended. Well, 2 grand juries did not indict him. I don't know the rules. I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. I only play one here when I'm talking to you guys. All I know is this. The NFL paid him last year. He was active. The Browns gave him a raise, and then the Browns turned around and guaranteed every cent of his money. I don't know about you, but if that guy was that guy, why would you be doing all that if you were the league? If the league thought that this guy should be suspended, why didn't they suspend him last year? Why didn't they put him on the commissioner's exempt list? They had no problem putting AB on it. No problem. All right, let's move on here. Don't tell me great quarterback can overcome a terrible team when Watson hasn't done it once. Okay, you're right. Jalen's better than Deshaun Watson. Now, hey, Lotus, we're talking a whole different thing than we're talking about creep factor. Yes, I think Deshaun Watson's a creep factor. Yeah, okay? That's a whole different conversation. I'm not talking about character of the year and man of the year here. It's different here, okay? Talking about a guy, we're talking about man of the year, he ain't it. There's a creep factor that's exceptionally high. And I got a problem with it too as a human. But as a football player, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. Hey, how about this? Tone, how many times have owners put in guys that have sexually assaulted women, beat them up, knocked them out? Look at Joe Mixon. I told you yesterday, he broke a girl's jaw in Oklahoma. Hey, and by the way, he's doing a great job in the city of Cincinnati, man. I mean, I give Joe a lot of love. Turned his life around. Part of like the spousal abuse program that's in Cincinnati. I believe in rehabilitation. I completely believe in it. You're not going to forget it, but the owners put those guys in the locker room, not me. I didn't hire them. So when you put like a guy who sexually assaults somebody in my locker room, I didn't put him there. I just have to answer for him because the owner put him there. Remember that. It's not the players. You think the players want to go home and hear it from their wife? You support that guy? No, I don't support that guy. But I've got to play with that guy. Okay? Because the owner put him in there. Public opinion in Maine and the man upstairs are two different things. I'm not laying down like that for money when it comes to hurting or sexualizing women. Hey, Steven. Yeah, because you know why? When we talk like this, we aren't trying. We're not trying to get back on the field and get that money in our pocket here. Okay, I look at it like there's no question. That's why. But wait a minute, though, Steven. He is saying, if you give me a year suspension, I'm going to court with this. And the NFL Players Association is backing him. Jones says, personally speaking, not on my team. You're not wrong there. Okay? Joe says this, you don't believe at least one is being honest. Hey, Joe, you know what really is weird about that? All 24 women are represented by one guy. How do you know the one guy's not lying? How do you know the one guy's not lying? Tony Busby represents all 24 women. He is a civil suit expert. His job is to get money for his clients. Don't you think that Tony Busby, the attorney, if there were 28 or 30 different lawyers involved in this, I think there's something to be said about surely somebody's telling the truth. But all of them are repped by one guy. One guy. Okay? You don't question that, how weird that is? So all 24 respected massage parlors in Houston hired this guy. That's pretty weird. It's pretty weird, you ask me. Bob says, Ray Rice got blackballed. The video is a killer. Hey, Bob, you know what I say this about Ray Rice? I love Ray Rice. That same woman that he beat up and punched in the jaw, he's married to now for well over a decade. They got a lovely family. Ray had opportunity. Steve Biscotti wanted to try to bring him back in. But you know what Ray Rice said? Ray Rice goes, I got to work on being a man now and a family man. And they have a happy life. And you know what the NFL turned around and did? They hire Ray Rice now to go to rookie symposiums, like camps that are going on right now. Talk about the pitfalls of making one tragic mistake. And I admire that. You never forget that video. But you admire that this man wanted to work on his relationship with his girlfriend, now wife. And they have a happy family. And there's a happy ending to this. These guys have gone on to live really productive and fruitful lives. Tragic mistake can result in a great life. And that's what Ray Rice did. Ray Rice is a prime example of having everything and losing it over one bad move. And then going on and telling kids, don't do this. I was sitting here. Dude, Ray Rice was in the conversations with a brand new contract extension. He's one of the most revered guys in the Baltimore Raven organization. Made a mistake. Tragic one. Awful one. Okay? How weird is Deshaun Watson? I could give you 24 reasons why I think he's weird. Hey, Steve, he broke that girl's jaw, man, when he was at Oklahoma. And he was so good. So good, right? That Bob Stoops couldn't throw him off the team because he brought him back. That's how good that guy was. Think about that. You break a woman's jaw or a co-ed's jaw. You suspend him from the team, but you bring him back because he's that good. What's that tell you about Bob Stoops? Talk to me about Deshaun. How about Bob Stoops? You bringing that guy back? I don't think so. Kareem Hunt situation was overblown. Yeah, but you know what, Lenny? That was on the heels of all that Ray Rice stuff, kind of, you know? He wasn't going to get over on that. Big Sills back on here to do some more reality checking on a lot of delusional Eagle fans. GI, thanks for stepping in, man. Sills, the NFL needs to do more of that stuff like with Ray Rice. Absolutely, man. The more you can listen to a player that has had it all and then lost it and then gained it back, that's a story of life, man. I love people that have got adversity in their life because not everything is going to be a merry-go-round. Lenny goes, hey, Dans, what are the odds? Jesse Bates. Lenny, I saw that he's like potentially a landing spot for Philly, but what are they, $3 or $4 million under the cap right now? That guy's going to command an enormous now. And by the way, one more time on this, guys. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, hey, Tone, you may like this too. If you're the Eagles, man, I'll tell you what, would you be able to ride it out with Jalen for 2 years and then get into the Joe Burrow sweepstakes? Let me say something to you here. The Bengals are bitching with Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is safety. You wait till that Joe Burrow contract comes up for Mike Brown, the owner. Has Mike Brown got into a contract squabble with Carson Palmer over $600,000 and shipped his ass, I think it was to the Cardinals. Cardinals or the Raiders, I forget which one. Right? And they didn't want to pay the new contract that Carson Palmer wanted. Joe Burrow's going to, 2 years? What do you think the base salary for a guy like Burrow's going to be in 2 years with that kind of arm talent? $55 million? $55 million per? Didn't Carson Palmer sit out? You know what? Tone, I thought he sat out. Then I think he either went to the Raiders or the Cardinals. And then they moved him. I forget which Cards was it, Steven? Cards, and then I think he finished it up with the Raiders. Hey, list. All you have to do is pick up the salary and give them draft choices. The Bengals want draft choices. The Eagles will definitely not have a top 5 defense or offense like Big Sills says. Devontae Smith's talents are being wasted in Philadelphia because you don't have a quarterback. I'll get into that here in a minute. I'm going to get into AJ and into Devontae here in a minute. Raiders for 2 years, and then he finished up with the Cards. Okay, it was the Raiders first. Lenny, I think they addressed Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati did a nice job addressing the offensive line. They did it in the draft, and they also did it in free agency. I think they're going to be a much improved group there. They were terrible, I think 28th last year in the offensive line. How much more can Joe take? 50 GT, man. He got – what was that game? What was the playoff game? Was it against the Titans last year? Hey, was it against the Titans that, they have 9 sacks on them? They had like 9 sacks, right? It was 9 sacks. Even in the championship game against the Rams, they got to his ass, mostly in the second half. Sydney, thank you so much, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. I think Gardner Minshew would be a badass in this offense. Devontae Smith would be a top 10 wide receiver. 9 sacks, Kenneth. And they still won the ball game. Crazy, huh? I mean, I think Burrow was sacked like 14 times in 3 games. I think he was sacked like 14 times. 3 games. And he still got to the game and was a quarter away from winning the Super Bowl. That shows you how talented and how arm talent can carry you. Hey, leg talent didn't carry that Bengals team. Arm talent carried it. See, maybe, you know what? 19 sacks in 4 games. Wow. Hey, maybe that's where and why I'm not a fan of Hurts' style. There's so far leg talent can take you. Vic, Jackson, Cam. You got to make a play from the pocket. Even the best running quarterback with the most success in NFL history is who? It's Cam Newton. Why? Cam won an MVP. Cam got his team to the NFC title game and won it and got to the Super Bowl. Okay? He is the most successful at winning. Vic was never a winner. Didn't win significant games outside of the playoff game in Green Bay. But he was sure fun to watch. By the way, I'm not saying that those guys aren't entertaining. Michael Vick versus watching Troy Aikman, who would you rather watch? It's a dumb question. Of course I want to watch Vic. Of course I want to watch Lamar. Really, watching Brady check down all day, you think it's entertaining? Brady thrown to his backs 30 times is not entertaining. Okay? Throw it away, throw it away, throw it to my backs, throw it to my tight end, throw it to my backs, throw it to my backs. That's winning. That's the formula for winning, though. It's not really chucking it down the field. Those guys who chuck it down the field like that, Aaron Rodgers is a prime example of that. Aaron Rodgers, his biggest mistake in clutch games is that he takes too much of a risk on yardage passes, where Brady will throw it away, check down, hit his tight end, and run the football. If Brady doesn't have a running attack, he can't win. Because play action is what made Tom Brady Tom Brady. Okay? Check down. One pass over the top just to keep you friendly. Tight end. Check down. Tight end. One over the top. Check down. One over the top. Tight end. That's Tom Brady. He's patient. This is where Wentz. Here's Wentz. Over the top. Sack. Throw it away. Why? Because live to live another down, kid. The first thing I would tell Carson Wentz, I'm going to get into Wentz here in a second, then I'll get on to AJ and Devontae. I would tell Wentz this, Hoss, I want to see 4 throwaways a game. You mean you want to see 4 plus 25? No. I want you to throw the ball into the stands 4 times if you feel pressure. Why would I do that? Because I'd rather see the ball in the stands than in the opposing team's hands or you on your back for a freaking sack. That's why. I'm going to break your ass to this. 4 passes. And if you don't, I'm fining your ass. Hero ball is fine at North Dakota State, kid. Where you don't play against anybody. In the NFL, sack fumbles kill you. Sack fumbles, kill that guy. Sack fumbles, INT. Bro, you're going to stop it, and I'm going to make you stop it. I'm going to coach your ass out of it. Throw it in the stands. That guy will sit back there and hold that freaking ball to his own detriment. I would, if this was old school, I'd smack him in the helmet every time he did it and go, what are you thinking? What could you possibly think that that's a good play? Underarm passes against the Titans. I would have got him in that locker room, and I would have went like this to him. I'll tell you something here, Carson. That may have been the dumbest 8 minutes of football I've ever seen in my life. And guess what? I'm questioning not your ability, but your decision-making issues. I'd rather have to take a safety than a pick 6 in my own end zone. I'd rather give the safety a punt it into the stands. Burrow does the same shit a lot. He holds the ball too long at times. He's got more arm talent than Carson, though. Dude, William, smack you upside your head, kid. Throw the ball in the stands. Throw the ball in the stands. Shit, man, if those were my coaches at Miami and with the Cowboys, North Turner would have smacked him in the helmet. What are you doing? Oh, but you can't do that today because hitting somebody in the helmet is a crime. J-Jaw, how's he on the team still? The fundamental issue that roster seats on the Eagles, here's 3 roster seats that should not be there. Derek Barnett, J-Jaw, and Rager. You got 3 roster spots. 3 roster spots right now that basically are being wasted. You could make the comment about Fletcher, but I mean, 14-4, he wouldn't be on my team either. He'd be off the team. There's actually 4 roster spots that are being wasted on the Eagles. 4. An overpaid, underperforming Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, who's got more penalties than sacks, J-Jaw, and Rager. Those 4 guys, you give 4 chairs away in your 53-man locker room every year that those idiots are on the team. Why? Because the GM holds the keys to the kingdom. No coach in his right mind would have those 4 chairs open like that for guys who don't deserve it. Nobody. There lays the difference between the Patriots and the Eagles. You got 4 seats in that locker room that should not be given to those 4 players. Okay? Should not be. Tone goes, J-Jaw and Rager don't even have 50 career catches between them. And they got a roster spot. And now you're moving them to tight end. Like that'll be a factor. Lenny goes like this. New England drafted N'Keal Harry. Drafted Paris Campbell. Okay. Lenny, do you know what the Patriots did, though, too? They found Danny Amendola. They found Wes Welker. They found Julian Edelman. They found Rob Gronkowski in the 2nd round. They found Tom Brady in the 6th round. They found Jacoby Brissett. They found Jimmy Garoppolo. They found all of those players were essential parts on winning ball games. Isn't it funny? Everyone attacks the one shitty pick that Belichick had, but they forgot that those guys were nobodies in college. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Amendola was a quarterback in college, or what, maybe it was Edelman. Those guys were nobodies. Wes Welker was a special teams player with the Dolphins, and he was traded from the Chargers at first to the Dolphins. What's his name liked him? Belichick brought him up, made him a slot receiver, and he's got 900 catches. Okay. Yeah, but they had N'Keal Harry. Yeah. See, John goes like this, F New England. Yeah, you're damn right, F New England, because you know why? Jealousy will always bring out the F word when it comes to New England, because they did it right for 20 years. Okay, I mean, N'Keal Harry. Oh, yeah. Belichick doesn't really know how to draft, but I'll tell you, he knows how to build a roster. He's got 6 examples. And he's got 9 AFC championship examples. But he's got N'Keal Harry on his resume. Does he? Wasn't he the guy that traded for Randy Moss when everybody said he blew? Then he comes in and gets 20 touchdowns. I love how people just pick out the littlest. Well, N'Keal Harry was a bust. Yeah, but guess what? I think Amendola and Edelman and Welker and Deion Branch, I think those guys kind of cover. I'm all right with Belichick flopping on N'Keal Harry. Deion Branch was a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, but he failed on the N'Keal. I know. He sucks, right? Right. But you'll keep Jalen Rager on your roster. They stink now? No Brady? I think they made the playoffs last year. Okay? I think they made the playoffs. Oh, that's right. Because when the 49ers lost Steve Young, they were winning Super Bowls right after that. Yeah. Or when Denver lost John Elway, yeah, man, they went to a ton of Super Bowls after that. The Dolphins, when they lost Marino, man, they were constantly playoff teams. Let me think. Right? Troy Aikman, when they lost Aikman in Dallas. Shit, they haven't been back to an NFC championship game in 27 years. Yeah, that's right. Not every place is like Green Bay. By the way, Green Bay underachieves. 2 Super Bowls in 30 years? Really? With Favre and Rodgers. 2 Super Bowls in 30 years of quarterbacking. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be a good ratio. When you had Young and Montana, at least there's 5. Okay? At least you got 5 Super Bowls out of them 2 dudes. Come on now. I don't support mediocrity at all times. Well, then you don't like the NFL because they love parity. Derek Barnett is only 25. I don't care if he's 20. I don't care if he's 35. I don't give a shit about that, eh? Do production. Produce. He doesn't. Jeremiah goes, Sills, I just got to say, bet they don't make another AFC championship in the Belichick era. I'll say this to you. You're probably right because they're not in the room with the rest of the quarter. You know what's funny? Okay. So you're saying Belichick won't get to another AFC championship game with Mac Jones, who's not that bad. Who's pretty decent, actually. But you're telling me that you think you can win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is not better than Mac Jones. He's not better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a superior passer. Okay? He's not quite Joe Burrow, but he knows how to play with talented wide receivers. He did it at Alabama. And that's the place that Jalen couldn't. All those great wideouts that they had. Calvin Ridley, Jalen Waddle. Hurts was there with all them dudes. The best wide receiving room he's ever had is not in Philly. It was in Alabama. That was the best wide receiving core. Shit, his offensive coordinator was Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's making $9 million a year as the Ole Miss head coach now. Hell, he may even had Sarkisian. I don't think he did. Sarkisian's the head coach of the Texas Longhorns now, making $9 million. Tell me he's had shitty coaching because he hasn't. The best record in the league at the end of the regular season may be a tie at 11-6. All these games are going to be close. I agree. Sills, the AFC, dude, hey, Kenneth, the AFC West alone, all those teams can win the Super Bowl. Every team in the West can win the Super Bowl. Okay? Every team. Dan, you said a ways back that Howie hits on 50% of the draft picks. I don't know if I said 50%. I don't think I said 50%. 50% on the draft picks? I'm not sure I said that. AFC is stacked. NFC, not so much. That's why the Eagles are a top 4 team in the NFC. Even though Brian Baldinger doesn't think it, I think it. Hey, Steven, the Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, Chargers are going to be great this year. Still got to deal with the Titans, who won last year's number 1 seed. So, I mean, my name isn't an oxymoron to the moronic statement that Jalen will get us to the Super Bowl. Every team in the AFC West can't win the Super Bowl. You're out of your mind. Really? You don't think the Raiders can? I do. You don't think that the Chargers can? I do. You don't think that the Chiefs can? I do. And you don't think the Broncos can? I do. Difference of an opinion. I think every one of those teams. Devontae Adams now being added to the Raiders with that tight end and running game they have. Come on, dog. Tone's like this. Jalen's got to be able to take advantage. You see, but not only that, Tone, take advantage of a weak NFC. He's got to be able to take advantage of the NFL rules today. The Eagles don't get any breaks in the passing game because of the style of play they have. Whether it's him or anyone they've ever had in the history of their franchise, they've never had a 100-catch guy in the history of the team. When it comes to wideouts, they've had a very, very slim number of quarterbacks that have thrown for 30 touchdowns. Cunningham, Wentz, McNabb. Okay. Been a handful of them. I think Jurgensen did it. I mean, no wideout in the history of the team's got 100 catches. It's crazy. There's like, okay, Steven, 4 teams in the NFC. Let me think. Rams, Bucks. By the way, I'm slowly not becoming, enamored with the Buccaneers. Fournette's 260. Brady's got a contract with Fox. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's where they sneak in too, because I don't know. It just looks like a celebration parade that Brady's going to go on. I could be completely wrong. Jose goes, will King win the rushing title? Boy, I'll tell you what, man. I love watching him play ball. I love watching those stiff arms. Best I've ever seen. I believe Zach broke Jason Witten's record. He's not a wide receiver, dude. He's a tight end. Again, people don't listen. You've never had a wideout in your professional football team's franchise history that was a wide receiver have 100 catches. In today's NFL, here, think about this, Tone. I know I got to take a time out here, but think about this. How many times have you seen these elite quarterbacks with minutes left in a half or a game just toss it up and get the benefit of the doubt on pass interference? How many times have you seen that with today's skilled guys at wideout? Jalen Hurts is not going to get that benefit because they know he can't throw the ball deep with accuracy. Refs aren't going to give him that benefit until he can prove it to the refs that he can complete those passes. All the great quarterbacks and big arm quarterbacks and talented quarterbacks get that benefit and have built the equity to get that because of today's NFL. How many times do you just see a jump ball and the player gets the benefit, the wideout? Because the defender traditionally is not matched up with the skill set of some of these guys that we're now seeing play wide receiver. Dude, when Justin Jefferson goes up, and it's Kirk freaking Cousins. Cousins had the least amount of picks last year in the league. You know that? They weren't 8-9 last year because of Kirk Cousins. They had a 1,100-yard back. They had Justin Jefferson. Their defense was a sieve. Least amount of picks of any team last year in the league were the Vikings. Happens to be week 2 opponent too. But when that guy goes up and he's challenging a DB in the end zone, he's getting the benefit. A.J. Brown's not getting that. A.J. Brown's not getting that. But he'd get more of the benefit with Ryan Tannehill. We always play against the ref sills. Hey, Philly, but it's time to embrace the rules. You know what I'm saying? It's time to embrace the rules. Easy money. I saw that report. That Mike Zimmer didn't like his starting quarterback. What a shitty environment to have to succeed in. The guy put up phenomenal numbers up there. And get this. You know why can I tell you why? Easy money, did I think that he didn't like him? because it was Zimmer's defense that was letting that organization down. It wasn't the offense. Justin Jefferson is out to the fastest start of any wide receiver in pro football history. And somebody threw him the ball. Okay? And this is on the heels of them getting rid of. Can you imagine what that offense would have looked like with Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson in it? Diggs was right, though, to go to Buffalo, wasn't he? He's sitting on the number one roster in the NFL with the number one quarterback in the NFL. Sills, would you rather have Hurts or Cousins? 10 times Kirk Cousins. Cousins has arm talent. Cousins has shown 6 of the 10 years he's thrown for 4,000 yards. Are you crazy? Jalen will never throw for 4,000 yards. And you've had one in Eagle history. Mart, Cousins is better. I want to hit on AJ, and I want to hit on Devontae here. By the way, let me write that down with Cousins. I want to prove a point to you on Kurt here. So let me say this here. Okay. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. If you've been hurt or injured on the job, finding that attorney is one of the most important things that you could possibly do for you and your family. For the people is not a slogan. It is who they are. It is what they are. This is, again, not a slogan, man. For 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has collected over $13.5 billion for their clients. 800 attorneys strong in offices in Philly, New York, Florida, all across the country. They will not be intimidated when they go into a courtroom representing you and your family. Believe me, Morgan & Morgan goes into a courtroom saying this: there's no such thing as a fender bender when it's Morgan & Morgan. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. The call is free. The consultation's free. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, do me a favor, tell them Big Sales sent you.
Many times when people are injured at a place of business, they don't realize they may have a case. The fact is, injuries should not happen. And most of the time when someone is injured, someone is at fault. Maybe the store manager installed a cheap, slippery floor, or there wasn't proper security. After an injury at a hotel, restaurant, store, or any place of business, it's so important to call us. Time matters, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
Oh my God. Kirk Cousins stinks, right, Mark? Please hit the like button. Big Sills here. So, do you believe this is the last 7 years of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota? Led the NFL in passer completion percentage at 69.8. 4,166. That would be a record in your franchise's history. Threw for 29 touchdowns, 11 picks. Next year, threw for 49-17. 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 67 completion percentage. The next year, threw for 64 completion percentage, 4,193 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 5 picks. The next year, threw for 70.1 percentage completion, 42.98, and 30 touchdowns and 5 picks. The year after that, got hurt a little, 36.03, threw for 26 touchdowns and 6 picks. 2020, 42.65, 35 touchdowns, and 10 picks. And last year, he threw for 33 touchdowns, 42.21, 66 completion percentage, and threw for 7 picks. You think that guy in Philadelphia is going to have a 7-year run like that when you've never had a guy in the history of your franchise have a 4,000 passing yard season except a guy in Washington? And Cousins sucks. Oh, man. If Kirk Cousins sucks, I would dare to think what you think of Jalen's passing ability. Always plays in a dome. So did Peyton Manning. Oh, hey, here's a good one, too. Jeremiah goes, how many playoff wins? Your boy Russell Wilson's 9-7. Brett Favre's 13-12. Let's see. Dan Marino's 7 and I think 9. Who else? I'm trying to think. I think Roethlisberger's got a good record. But the majority of them don't. Brady and Montana, right. Well, those guys are outliers. The rest of them are all around 500. You're making – Matthew Stafford had 1 playoff win in 12 years in Detroit. 1. And don't tell me, well, he played in Detroit with a shitty organization. Joe Burrow played with the worst O-line in the history of a Super Bowl team with the Bengals and made it. That story doesn't fly anymore. Must be trash yards. Kirk Cousins sucks. And in his last 7 years, he's thrown 6 years out of 7, over 4,100 yards and over 26 touchdowns. And he sucks. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, Ernest, can you tell me who Mac Jones is? Oh, okay, you said Matt Jones. Excuse me. 00, sorry, Sills. You are wrong about Hurts. He's going to put all of you media puppets to shame. I'm hoping. Burrow's an anomaly. That's not what I heard him coming out of LSU. I heard he was a product of the system. Oh, and by the way, he also got beat out like Jalen did. He went to LSU. Well, the difference there, though, he won the national title and the Heisman. Became the number 1 pick on a loaded team that had Justin Jefferson and all those guys that he played with. Burrow was totally crapped on coming out of college. This guy, man, he's a product of all that great talent that's around him. That's what they said to Mac Jones. Mac Jones in his first year beats out Cam. Cam was done, agreed. Still took the team to the postseason in his rookie season. With a coach like Belichick. Now, great coaching with Josh McDaniel helped a lot, no doubt. So a game in the line, you want Kurt with the last drive over Jalen? You bet. Any day. He's a passer. What do you think you're going to run for it? Or are you going to throw for it with 2 minutes left or a minute left? You don't have time on the clock to run the ball. You do not have a 2-minute drill. Do you understand that? The Philadelphia Eagles do not have a 2-minute drill. You don't have a 2-minute drill because you don't have 2 minutes to run the ball and 2 minutes to get the ball in the end zone if you got to go 80 yards. You don't have a 2-minute drill, nor do you have a red zone offense. That's why A.J. Brown was brought in. A.J. Brown does not put up gigantic numbers. Let's move on to that. He averages 68 catches, 998 yards, and 8 touchdowns. What does that tell you about him? You think he's going to improve those numbers? Even Brian Baldinger last week said he ain't improving those numbers in Philly. But you know what his asset is to a team? You throw him the ball, he's a third down machine. And that guy in a jump ball situation in the red zone, he's going to win 9 out of 10 of them. He's not going to be a 1,400-yard guy ever in that offense. He's going to be a 10 to 13 touchdown guy. That's why I want him on my team. That's why he's elite. His numbers are pedestrian. His ability is special. I would compare him to like a Michael Irvin. He's going to outfight you for the football if the quarterback can find him. That's where his asset is. You got that guy running inside the 20, and you got to throw a jump ball to him. He's winning that. My money's on A.J. Brown winning that. Not having a 2-minute offense is what killed us in the bowl in 2004. Got to have a 2-minute offense. Running the football is essential on play action. Brady knows how to handle it and do it. Now, I'm not comparing Brady to Jalen Jalen to Brady. I'm not doing that because you know why? It's not fair. Nobody has situational play calling ability like Brady does. Special on how Brady's able to just like, okay, let's run a screen here. Let's run the ball. Guy will do it with 45 seconds left in the game because he's patient. He's calm. Something Wentz never has. Wentz can never run a 2-minute drill decently. He doesn't have the ability. He's not calm enough. This guy like tries to play superhero. I love that AJ beat out Jalen Ramsey last year. Jalen Ramsey slipped on a Super Bowl ring. He does in this offense picking, because get this, he's not going to be asked, in my opinion, to have 1,400 yards. He's just not. Spygate, of course. Isn't it funny about all those so-called scandals in New England? Didn't matter. Whether it was Spygate or Deflategate, they came back and won Super Bowls a couple of years later. Never mattered. It's just an excuse to go after somebody's dominance. Spygate and Deflategate, Matt. So you think taking pictures of somebody is something that went on even during the Jimmy Johnson era? All you had to do is just get the raw feed from television networks. They give it to you anyway because they make game film from it. They didn't have to tape it. They just wanted their own copy. You can get that from the television networks. You can't anymore, but you did back in the day. That's how you got your game tape. And what they started doing was filming sidelines. It's like stealing signs. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's gamesmanship, actually. But it's New England. Steven, Belichick's a genius. Well, but those formations that he took advantage of with the rules that the Ravens cried about because it was in the rule book. He took advantage of it in that playoff game, and John Harbaugh's crying about it, and it's there in the playbook. Just smart. Okay, you're right. Sills, will you be happy with 38 and 26? I'll tell you what, GT. If Jalen Hurts throws for 38 and 26 touchdowns, tell you what I would do. Like I told Tone, I'd give him a short-term contract. 2 with an option to see if we can improve this. Because that's my thing would be the touchdowns. I don't even need to have him in the Super Bowl. Get him in the NFC Championship game. If he's in the NFC Championship game with 3,800 passing yards and 26 touchdowns, I'm good with that. I'm good with, how about this? That it got better because that means A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith 8. Okay? Davey Boy goes, so basically you're saying Jimmy Johnson cheated. You call it cheating. I call it gamesmanship. Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, all I'm saying is I'm not giving 5-year contracts to Jalen, but if he shows me 26 touchdowns and limited picks, still increases in his run and still around, I don't want him to be running the ball as much. I don't want to tear it up. I'd want to expand it. Look, guys, I'm trying to improve. You guys are in love with the name on the back of the jersey. I'm in love with the name on the front of the jersey. Okay? I think that's our fundamental difference. I don't give a shit about the name on the back of the jersey like you guys do. I care about the jersey. Winning. You guys fall in love with that name too much. Fall in love with the logo. It's about winning. It's not about dating anybody here. Okay? Buying jerseys. This is about winning ball games. They're constantly trying to improve every position they can. I got to take a timeout. Okay? Mario Cristobal is going to join us in hour number 3, too. We'll talk about Tyler Van Dyke. I think he's going to be somebody that potentially the Eagles may look at. You know, he did coach Justin Herbert, and he told me Justin Herbert was going to be a sensational football player in the NFL, and he was dead on with Justin Herbert. That guy coached that guy, is coaching this kid here, too. We'll talk about all the things going on in college football with Mario Cristobal, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. Hour 3 coming up. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, got fake 'em out. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Hour 3, National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you so much. Mayor Cristobal will join us at the bottom of the hour. We'll get his spin on what's going on in college football. Tyler Van Dyke, so many things to look at this year. Miami has done a absolutely sensational job of recruiting. Hey, Tone, out-recruited Alabama this year. How you doing? Out-recruited Alabama. Xander's going to be in tears, you know. They lose the recruiting war to University of Miami. That's right, baby. Yeah. No, not really. Bama still got the #1 recruiting class. I'm just saying that because, you know, I can. Because I'm not a journalist. Thank you. Yeah, hey, easy. Yeah, no, I think for sure, you know, I think Mario's doing a spectacular job in putting the U back on the planet. I really do. Now we got to go out and win ball games. Hey, yeah, no, Bama still got the #1 recruiting class. Okay, man. Hey, real quick, speaking of Xander, Tone, do me a favor. Put up our post-game show for the Eagles that we announced today. I want to make sure that we throw that out there. It's really important because I think you're going to get the best coverage there is when it comes to the post-game show here. Look at all the great folks that we have here now. It was announced on Sports Take today. Seth Joyner, who's on tomorrow, by the way. Mike Missinelli, really a great opinionist. And that's what I call Mike. You know, he's a sports talk guy. He's an opinionist. You got D-Gun there, too. You got Devin on there. That's going to be a great show. And it's going to follow every single Eagles game. So we've got you covered wall to wall, Monday through Friday, and also on Sundays when it comes to your football team. Thank you so much. Good job, Tone. We appreciate everybody coming aboard. Please hit the like button. I want to reset some things. And, you know, here, let me make it one thing clear again. One thing clear again. As we get ready for this 2022 Eagle season, There's nobody on this network that I've heard that's rooting against anybody to be successful this year, including Jalen Reagor. Who roots for failure? Nobody. But what I do is I give you my professional assessment of what I see a guy and what he's done. I don't have a magic lamp, and I tell you this all the time. I don't rub genie bottles, and I don't play the lottery. That's wishful thinking stuff. I look at what a guy has done and what I think that guy's ceiling may be. Like when I tell you this, guys, all the time, when I watched Joe Burrow play his first NFL game, I was like this. This guy drops back in the pocket. You see it. I tell you the comparison that I make because it's simple for me. There's two of them. I walk into a great Italian restaurant. I know if you have good pizza or not. Okay? I see a beautiful woman. I don't need to see her 70 times. Right, Tone? You see a really great look. When you see Sierra, do you do this? Yeah, you know, can you give me 4 more angle shots of Sierra? I'm not sure yet. Like when you look at Russell Wilson's wife and you go like this, that's got to be one of the greatest looking women on the planet. You say that right away. When I watched Josh Allen, even Shady McCoy, when he was in Buffalo, said this about him. Just some of the first practices he was around, he goes, this guy is spectacular. It may not be this year or next, but he's going to be spectacular. You see that. Okay? I don't see spectacular with Jalen. No cap. No nothing. And by the way, just because that assessment is out there on him, that doesn't necessarily mean he can't do what Colin Kaepernick did and help a team get to a Super Bowl. I wouldn't consider Trent Dilfer a star. He did enough to get his team where they had to be, took advantages of the strengths of the team. Jalen's smart like that. Jalen's going to win more games with his mind than he is his arm. His mind and his arm are his mind and his legs are his greatest assets. It's not his arm. He doesn't have one. Oh, he can throw it 100 yards. Great. So can a cousin of mine that's in Stanford. Just because you can throw it 100 yards, that doesn't necessarily mean you're an NFL player. Cap wasn't very accurate. You look at his numbers. They were pretty compatible to where yeah, but easy. Lamar's a better passer than Jalen. You think Jalen Hurts is going to lead the NFL in passing touchdowns ever? People thought Sierra was born a man. Well, I would check that guy's eyesight. I would check that guy's eyesight. If you're saying that about, okay. You know, I mean, Cap could throw. Yeah. NFC champs, at least Smitty and Lamar, Quez to Goddard, best O-line, A.J. Brown. Nick Foles isn't spectacular. He's not. He goes on spectacular runs like Eli. If I were going to compare Nick Foles to somebody, it'd be Eli Manning. Those guys, when they get on rolls, dude, Eli Manning in the postseason won more Super Bowls with one team than his brother did. His brother won 1 Super Bowl with the Colts. You know, Eli beat the GOAT twice, too. I'm thinking of that. Eli beat the GOAT twice and was the MVP in the game twice. It's the only thing keeping him in the conversation of making it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Cap wasn't especially, yeah, he wasn't Kaepernick was a good football player. I don't care what anybody says. I'm good with Kaepernick, man. Hey, dude, right on. So Brady's 3 losses are to Foles and Eli. Beavis and Butthead. You're like, man, how do you lose to those 2 guys? Right? And you beat Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning, and you're beating these other guys in AFC championship games, and you're losing to Foles, and you're got crushed. My opinion, white flag was waved with about 5 minutes left in that Eagles Super Bowl. Hey, Gary, you know what? I believe that Eli Manning is 117 and 117 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's 500. But when he got hot, man, he was Foles hot. He was Foles hot, dude. He was, man. How Eli got out of that scrum huddle on that, dude, Sydney. And then it sticks to the receiver's helmet. You're like, come on, man. There's got to be Velcro on that football. John says Jalen will be fine as long as the Eagle coaching staff doesn't try and become a passing team first like they did last year early. Had they figured that out in training camp? Yeah, well, John, guess what? They don't practice enough in training camp to figure that out. That's another issue I have. How are you developing Jalen with limited practice time in your OTAs and going into training camp when you don't do it? Gaming. Okay, Sills, hear me out. This roster, but with Matt Ryan as our quarterback, how far would that football team go? Probably to the Super Bowl. Matt Ryan wasn't the problem in Atlanta. Sorry-ass defense was the problem. Okay? The problem was the defense. Eli and Nick, same dude, man. Yeah, but dude, when they were hey, you know what, too, Steven? Foles, even in the next year's playoffs, got hot. You know, and I talk about it all the time. Jeffries catches that pass in New Orleans. I think Wentz is shipped out of town because you're not going to fire a guy that got to 2 Super Bowls in 2 consecutive years. You're not going to. You would never have let Nick walk out of the building. You would never. If Alshon Jeffries catches that pass and they go to another NFC championship game 2 years in a row, you're firing Nick Foles? I don't know. I'm not going to let him go to Jacksonville. No freaking way, man. I couldn't do it. And that's the decision that the Eagles will always be haunted by. You know what? You think Brady, how about this? Tone, think about this for a second. So if they go back to Bledsoe in New England, after Bledsoe beats the Steelers in the AFC Championship game, because Brady got hurt, and they go and stick with Bledsoe in the Super Bowl that year, the 0-1 season, I think it was. And Belichick sticks with a guy who he gave $118 million contract to with $18 million guaranteed. Nobody would have begrudged the guy because you always thought Bledsoe was the guy anyway. Mo Lewis knocks him out. Brady goes on that run, puts the team in a position, but then Brady gets hurt in the postseason. What does Belichick do? He goes back to the 6th rounder. And the rest is history. He goes back to the 6th rounder. And he ships Bledsoe to a division rival, the Bills. Who in their right mind has the cannolis to do that? But it was a decision that they had a gut feeling on. Who says this? Well, if they went to Bledsoe, how do you know Brady, if he goes somewhere else, doesn't turn into Nick Foles? Goes to a shitty organization like the Jaguars, gets terrible coaching in Chicago, like every quarterback that's ever been coached before in Chicago at the quarterback position. How do you know what could have been? Doug stays in Philly. That decision right there was Brady, Belichick, and Bledsoe-ish. You don't know what would have happened. Foles was in a comfort zone. The players loved him. He was winning games. Surely he had 2 great seasons going in the postseason. 2 phenomenal postseasons. Bledsoe did say Brady is going to surprise everyone how good Brady is after Bledsoe injury. And that could have been just a guy just giving a guy support too. No quarterback succeeds in Chicago. There's something in the deep dish. Randy. Hey, Randy, do you know the last time you guys had an all-pro quarterback in Chicago? You ready? Sid Luckman. Not a Pro Bowler, an all-pro. Sid Luckman. 50-some-odd years ago. They haven't had a quarterback worth of shit in Chicago in my entire lifetime. Outside of a couple McMahon years, Rex Grossman, too. Forgot about that guy. They've had bums, and they've never had a decent quarterback in the building. Hey, how about this? That's a great question. That's a great question by Toilet. If Foles was the quarterback of this football team this year, this 2022 team, tell me what you think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith's numbers would be. If Nick Foles was your quarterback, McMahon was a high draft pick, I think 6th overall. Yeah, Smiley never played a 16-game regular season schedule in his entire NFL career at 17 years. Chris, I'm not a fan of any quarterback who ever plays at Ohio State. If you miss on Joe Burrow and tell him he's not good enough to play, and you make him go somewhere else, and you're trying to sell me on Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, and Justin Fields, I'm guessing you don't know the quarterback position very well. Ryan Day, Urban Meyer. 2 greatest quarterbacks Urban Meyer's ever produced are who? Tebow and Alex Smith. What other quarterbacks has he ever produced? Who's Urban Meyer produced? I can't think. Tebow, Chris Leak. I guess. I don't know. Ohio State quarterbacks. Cardell Jones. Hey, Cardell Jones. You know what I always thought about him, though, dude? I thought Cardell Jones was an apple that was picked off the tree too soon. He should have stayed, man. He had some ability, it looked like. Big gun, big player, you know? Somebody got to him, and Maurice Claretted him. And I'll always use that. Anytime players get Maurice Claretted, we used to have that at our school under different coaches that would do that. Oh, you should leave or go to the pros. And you get drafted in the 5th round. Why would you leave? Why would you leave if you get drafted in the 5th round? What's the point? You're not going to make the team. Hey, you'll be a high draft choice. 1st round? Yeah, you go in the 6th round. What? Can I have it back? JT Barrett. Dude, all those guys were bums. Alex Smith was the best of the group. That's what I'm saying. Of all the places that he coached, Bowling Green, Utah, and Florida, and Ohio State, Urban Meyer's produced 2 decent quarterbacks, or maybe 1. Okay? Maybe, think about that. So Urban Meyer's produced at Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and Ohio State. He's produced Tebow and JT Barrett. Hey, I'm going to tell you a guy who's produced a guy who may win the most valuable player. Okay? That's Justin Herbert. You know, a couple years ago when I was talking to Mario Cristobal, you know what he told me? Sills, watch this kid. This kid's going to be a superstar. He's going to be a guy that's going to light the league up. Well, guess what? I think that Charger team is going to be a team that's going to do something. And I think this team is going to do something this year, too. We bring in Mario Cristobal, the head football coach at the University of Miami. Boy, I'll tell you what, finding you in a car, I'm not stunned.
I'm actually in a bus outside of the paintball course as our guys are in there just getting after it after a crazy day of training and working out and whatnot. So how you doing, brother?
Oh, good, man. I'm so proud of what's going on with you. Mario, I talked to Jimmy last night, and I want to convey something to you that he said to me. I said, Mario's going to have great success. And he goes, he is. You know why? He's constructing a coaching staff around him that gets it to like we had when we were at Miami. Mario, they look like they have the same fundamentals, the same power to go out and recruit, the same energy that you have. How important was that for you to get those guys in a room, to get your coaching staff, the type of coaching staff that you wanted, to get them all in place to do what you're doing right now?
Oh, it was as prominent as it gets. You know, we wanted to get it right, so we were patient and we swung for the fences, and luckily we connected again and again and again. These are highly driven, motivated professionals, really high-level IQ football guys, and just tremendous human beings that get it and they grind. And so they attract other great people, so it builds upon itself. You should see the support staff around them, the GAs, the analyst positions that we have filled with bright young stars. So all in all, just incredibly blessed to have these people in our program. And Dan, they just go, man. They get it. They understand how much we love Miami, and they're happy to be part of the Hurricane family.
I tell people this: my GAs were Tommy Tuberville, and I mean, they were some of the greatest coaches that would go on. Chuck Pagano was a GA when I was at Miami. These guys were guys checking beds, and we had guys that were so talented. Do you feel it with the players too, Mario? Do you feel the players getting that same energy that you're trying to instill again in the program?
Then what we have thrown at them is what you and all your teammates and myself and all of us went through back in the day under Coach Johnson. I remember the way we ran stations, the way our team conducted its own 7-on-7 and player-led practices, those lifting sessions. The grind has been thrown at them full throttle, and they have responded really well. Now, granted, it's a new capacity level, right? It's a new threshold to break through and get to. But all in all, have adapted and have attacked the opportunity really well. The results have been really good. We still have another 4 or 5 days left of the offseason before we go full throttle into training camp. So just a lot of progress and still a lot of work to do.
You know, Mario, I always felt, and I wonder if you felt the same thing when we were at UM with those great coaches. I always felt that there was a sense of urgency and that you were always at the edge of your chair. Everything we did, like you said, running to get water, running to drill, doing 9-on-7, our pursuit drill. We used to start practices out with pursuit. We did all of that stuff. Then our legendary inside drills that we would all go through, but it was a sense of urgency that we had. And when the games came, the reason that we had that sense of urgency, we had practiced game tempo in practice every single day. Mario, it's great that you understand this because I try telling people this. So you practice game tempo. I go, I don't think there was a day that I was at Miami for 3 years that I don't ever remember not practicing game tempo. Is that something that you're seeing too also?
100%. I mean, it's, as you know, for decades, that field, Green Tree practice field, really hosted the best practice sessions imaginable, better than games, right? The level of competition, the knockback factor, the physicality, the resiliency to finish those heavy, hardcore, physical, tough practices really just took Miami to another level. And yeah, that's part of our regimen right now. And getting to that level requires great strength and conditioning. And Coach Feld and that staff, they have knocked it out the park, man. I mean, you really, I would love for you to take in a practice session this fall. I wish you had time to come in and witness a strength and conditioning session. We just go, and every day there's progress. We're hitting new personal bests all the time. and fully understanding, right? Those weights don't push back, but it's true, right?
That's right. Hey, man, your recruiting is off the charts. What has been the reception that you've gotten? Obviously, you go from in the 30s up inside the top 5 now when it comes to recruiting for this respected class here. What's been the reception for you when you walk into a kid's room and you walk into a parent's home now on something that you're seeing the Miami flag being pinned back where it wasn't maybe for the last? No shade on anybody, but maybe some of the people that we weren't getting back in the day, you're starting to see that come back again.
Well, a couple things stand out. Number one, I think everyone in the country knows that when Miami's on, it's a different level. And when they see the investment by the university as it relates to the coaching staff, the facilities that we're putting up, you combine all that with the fact that, a couple guys jumped in early that are really prominent, but we can't talk about those guys, as you know. But it caught fire, and the momentum that has been built is real. And then when they come and they watch practice and they see how we work, we've attracted the right type of prospect, and that's building upon itself. We want guys to watch these physical, demanding practices. We want them to sit in meetings so they could see and take in the level, the coaching acumen of the staff that we have put together, so they can realize if you come to Miami, your development is going to be at the highest level. So all in all, just, man, piece by piece, just working to get better.
Dude, couple last questions for you. And again, some personal question. When's the last time you seen your wife?
Well, we get to, I get home late at night. We leave early, so we make the most of any free time that we have. We went and visited some family in Atlanta, and took a step out for a second. So I'm very blessed to have a family that gets it, that supports it, and whether they have to come hang out with me at the office or we got to go and travel to media days or other responsibilities, they're all about it. So she's my greatest blessing.
Absolutely, man. Oh, you have to have the strongest person behind you, and it's got to be your wife, like I have with my wife. But Mario, I asked you this last time, and I'll ask you one more time. God forbid, man, I'm so proud of what you're doing. And we all are so proud of your energy, and it just resonates to remind me of what we did and the accomplishments. My wife said this to me years ago. I don't know if we'll ever see anything ever again like what you guys accomplished. And she said to me the other day, she goes, I think your boy's doing it. And I go, well, rent's due in September. So I go, we got to go out there. We got to pay rent in September when it comes to winning ball games. But Mario, the community and everybody embracing you, has it settled in with you?
No, there's a lot of reasons for coming back to Miami. Number one, wearing that U and playing for this program. Dan, it's a game changer. It changes your perspective on life and what you can be part of and what you can achieve if you just go all out. So the other part of it is, man, I remember what this community, this city felt like as we were rolling. Well, our city, our people, they want that. They deserve that, and that means a lot to my family. It means a lot to all of us. It means a lot to you, your team, all of our teammates. So it's just time to get back to work. That's all we're focused on, working, improving every day, just elevating that standard more and more and more. And eventually it'll get to what we want it to. But between now and then, we just got to focus on the work, throw aside all the hype and all the noise and all the nonsense, and just go at it, man.
Finally here, you know what, Mario? I remember one of the greatest things I ever remember about the Cuban community was walking into the Orange Bowl, and I would get this brown paper bag with a Cuban sandwich. I would get other things in there and all the Cuban food. I would get a Coke. Everyone parked on everyone's lawn. And when that program wins like that, you're walking into Coconut Grove. They know you more than the Dolphins. You're like a legend in that city. Everywhere we went, the Mayfair Center, or we go down to the beach, everyone would know who we were, but it was because of the hard work that we put back in to the program. And I know that community is behind you 100%. The recruiting has gone great. And one last word here on Tyler Van Dyke. Do you see comparisons a little bit to him and Justin?
Well, somebody asked me that the other day, to have the blessing of being able to the coach, Justin Herbert, is, man, that comes around once in a lifetime. So I never try to compare guys that are already in the pros, but you see, like you saw the traits early, like you mentioned in Justin, the commanding presence, the detail of his work, the selfless, attitude, and the disposition of just wanting to see his teammates do well and not worried about personal accolades and gains. Well, Tyler has so many of those attributes, and man, he is. You look at those games that he played in last year, you see a rocket arm, a very decisive guy, a guy with great pocket presence, a guy that understands not only the offensive scheme, but what the defense is doing pre-snap, post-snap, and his adjustments, his ability to extend plays. This guy's a special guy. We're blessed to have him. Going to media day with him tomorrow. So really excited about him and the rest of the guys.
Mario, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're swamped and such, and I can't tell you how much I love you, man, and tell you how much you mean to all of us. And I talked to Michael Irvin, too, the other day, and Mike's like, can you believe it? I'm like, no, man, it's emotional for all of us, and you know that, what you're doing. You know it is, and I'm talking to just you and me. It's emotional because that program means so much to all of us, and it's outside of my family, it's the most important family that I'll ever have, is being part of the University of Miami. Thank you, brother.
Brother, it's all of us, and that's what makes it special. Let's keep rounding up all the guys, man. That lock ain't nothing like it. There's never been anything like it. Let's keep rounding it up, man. Love you and appreciate you.
You bet. Mario Cristobal, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate him doing that for us here and finding time. Man, that program's emotional to me. I love that place. That place helped me become who I wanted to be. When you're around something like that, like Alabama's going through right now, you understand. And maybe some of you don't understand it because you haven't gone through anything like that. But when you're winning like that, it's almost like Camelot. It's the perfect world. I mean, I remember my losses more than my wins at Miami. Playing with Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame coaches. It's I can't put into words what it means to be part of that program. It's tremendous. Could easily be non-family related. My greatest accomplishment, playing at that place and starting at that place and starring at that place. Take a timeout. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really. Don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the poles and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. National Football Show. It's your boy, Big Sills. I felt inspired to put my JB hat on. I don't think anybody has any problem with Jerome Brown hats, do you? Right? You know, every time I talk, to one of my guys, and he is one of my guys, I coached his brother. His brother would come to me, Lewis, and they would ask me, Sills, I can't get in front. How do I? And I would help the offensive linemen because, we're beating up on these scout team guys who would go on and play and end up being stars in their own right. And both brothers started at Miami, and his brother used to come to me after practice, and I would take time with him. Russell Maryland too. Hey, you know what's crazy about Russell Maryland? Yeah, you'll like this. So me and Jerome are sitting there after a practice. We're just sitting there. We're standing there. And Butch Davis comes over to us and goes, this Russell Maryland, man, he's always falling down. He's never really – man, me and him both went like this. No, man, this guy's going to be a good football player, dude. He just got to learn to play under his pads a little better. He doesn't really have great balance yet. He'll get that. That's part of being young. You don't really play under your pads. And I showed him some stances, and I showed him some ways of being able to accomplish that. Got to be better at your feet. You got to pick your feet up inside. When you're inside like that, closer to the center, I think you have to have better feet because there's a lot more traffic in there. And you've got to be pretty athletic. That's why at the University of Miami, I was a linebacker. Jerome was a tight end. Hell, Sapp was a tight end. And we all transformed into defensive tackles because you had to have, and have to have, in my opinion, like when you watch Jordan Davis has got great feet. Traffic inside. You don't have to have exceptional feet to play defensive end. Okay, but you do inside. You got to be, I would say, quick feet to play inside. Guard, center, traffic, linebackers, people, running backs. There's a lot of traffic inside there. So as an athlete, you've got to be a little, like, look at Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, what do you think the two things that separate Aaron Donald? Okay? The two things that separate Aaron Donald from everybody else are his exceptional hands and his feet. He's off the line of scrimmage, slapping hands, coming up and doing. I used to take jitsu, and I used to take karate, and I used to just use my hands, and we would practice constantly moving, cross-hand chop spin. We would sit here and always, Jerome and I were always working on hand placement. Man, I could do this drill that we used to do all the time. And we used to just, because when the guys shoot his hands out, you're trying to get him off. Watch Aaron Donald slapping hands like this, getting his feet moving. The moment you stop your, and this is where Jordan Davis struggles a little bit. Don't ever stop your feet. See, at Georgia and in college, you could stop your feet because you're physically imposing on many of the guards you're playing. In the NFL, they're all technicians. And if you stop your feet inside on any guard in the NFL, he will stone you. That's the first lesson you learn. Do not stop your feet because you will get stoned. And I'm not talking about smoking weed. You've got to be able to get in there. And Donald is, Aaron Donald, how tall do you guys think Aaron Donald is? How tall do you think Aaron Donald is? How tall do you think Aaron Donald is? You guys know? Aaron Donald's 6 feet tall. How is he beating 6'6" guys? Look at the Eagle O-line guys. Okay? Look at the guards. Both guards are 6'6", 335. He ain't 6'2", Randy. I think they have him listed at 6'1", and he ain't. How tall is Aaron Donald? They got him listed at 6'1". I don't think he's 6'1". I think he's a tick under 6'1". 6'1", watch this. How much does Aaron Donald weigh? How much does Aaron Donald weigh? He weighs 284 pounds. So you're telling me Aaron Donald's the same size as Leonard Fournette? Supposedly Leonard Fournette's like 260 pounds. And I think Leonard Fournette's 6 feet. Leonard Fournette is as big as Aaron Donald right now. How in the world does that guy dominate guys 6'6", 350 pounds? Hands, speed, quickness. He's a 500-pound bencher. How can a guy like that, and then you look at Jordan Davis at 6'6", 348 pounds, runs 4.78. How's that guy only have 9 sacks at Georgia in 43 games? You know why? He hasn't lived up to his talent yet. His ability is here. His productivity is here. Do we agree? You have 43 games you played in. SEC, legitimate Georgia football schedule. 43, and you got 9 sacks? Yeah, like 30. Hey, let me see how many tackles he had last year at Georgia. How many tackles did Jordan Davis have at Georgia last year? He had 32 tackles. 32 tackles? Stinks. I did that in 2 games. I played at Miami next to Jerome. I had 100 tackles one season. He had 32. So his time at Georgia didn't equal to my time at Miami for 2 years. Come on, man. You've got it. Look, the Eagles drafted him because they see 6'6", 348 pounds, 4.78. I saw it. I went, I've never seen anything like it. How many triple teams did he take on? I mean, well, if you're the 13th pick, who cares? And by the way, what about Walker? What about Wyatt? What about the kid they got there this year that's going to go in the 5th pick? You think he's the only guy they had on that defense? 9 sacks, 43 games is not productive to me. Now, again, would I have drafted him the 13th pick after watching him run a 4.78 and watching him run those shuttle drills and watching him play in the national title game the way he played? You bet your ass I'm drafting him that high. Because I think there's more upside with him than what he's produced. His talent is here. His production is here still. We need to close that gap. You see, when you're in college, you could do what Jerome did. Jerome Brown would do the same shit that Jordan Davis does. You know what that is? Jerome would get in a game against Oklahoma, have 20 tackles, and you'd go like this. You just shake your head and go, fuck. Then you'd watch him against Toledo and go, where the hell are you? You get distracted. And you hate guys like that because one day they're just, oh my God. Like I said, I watched him play against Oklahoma one year. He had 20 tackles, an interception, a blocked punt, a blocked field goal, 2 sacks, broke Troy Aikman's leg, 5 tackles for loss. I mean, a fumble recovery. It was, I watched it. It's the greatest performance I've ever seen on a football field from a defensive football player that I was involved in. I've never seen anything like it. I walked off the field going like this. Okay, I won't see that again. And I wanted to play like that. I was like, damn. Oh, yeah, man. He was constantly in the backfield. Low stat gaming. I just want his ability. Steven, he's the best interior defensive lineman ever. Aaron Donald. Boy, Sapp was awful good. And so was Mean Joe Green. Joe Green was exceptional inside. Won 4 Super Bowls. Was the leader on that steel curtain defense. And guess what? That nickname on that team, they win 4 titles in 6 years with Joe Green. I don't know. Joe Green on the Steeler front 4 wins 4 titles in 6 years and is the most dominant defensive lineman in the league at the time. I don't know. Intimidating. Crushed players. Joe Green, I don't know if he could play today. The guy was violent, man, and dominant, and struck fear in you. I would tell you this. Joe Green is probably one of the best players I've ever seen. So, Joe Green. Bruce Smith's an end. You know? Oh, no, man. Oh, wait. So D. Hopkins got suspended. D. Hopkins got suspended for 6 games. He misses the Eagle game. Great. Carson. I love Milton Williams. I think Milton Williams is going to be a factor this year on the Eagle front 4. I like him. Fan of him. Hey, yeah, those Steeler teams were a legend. Randy, dude, L.C. Greenwood and Joe Green, Dwight White. Shit, man. Guys got after people, man. That's why they got Hollywood Brown. Yeah. John Randall's a heck of a ball player, man. I think it was PEDs, Randy. I think it was PEDs. Donald, the best interior lineman, the best lineman ever to live is Reggie, and it's not close. Jack Lambert, linebacker, Ham, Russell, Blunt, all them guys. And that defense, that's the greatest defense of all time. I don't care what they say about you know what? I'll make this point to you. The 1985 Bears and the 2000 Ravens are overrated. Why do you think I say they're overrated? Why do I – the 1985 Chicago Bears defense and football team was overrated. Why do you think I say that? Mel Blount was so good, man. Should outlaw his ass. They were great. That's right, Smile. You win 1 and that's it. That's not legend. Now, is maybe one of the greatest seasons and one of the greatest years in pro football history? Absolutely. 2000 Ravens and the 85 Bears, legend, 1 season. But look at the Dolphins back in the 70s. Dolphins had 3 straight AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowls in a row, and one of those teams was undefeated. That's a run. The Cowboy run, 3-4. That's a run. Those are legendary teams that do that. The Patriots, I can't tell what dynasty's better, the first one or the second one, because they were so separated in how they won with Brady. It's crazy. Yeah, think about that for a minute. The Miami Dolphins of the 70s with Shula, who didn't throw the ball, he gets Marino, can't win anything, gets to one Super Bowl with him, and that's it. But when he had Greasy in them, they won 3 straight AFC championships, 2 straight Super Bowls. One of those teams was undefeated, and that's not one of the greatest runs of all time? I don't know about that. Mel Blunt, Jack Tatum should have been illegal. I think Tatum was illegal. Tatum, one of my favorite people of all time. I got a chance to meet him when I was doing radio in the Bay Area. Dude, Jack Tatum walks into a room. I got a book. I think I showed you guys. I got a book signed by Tatum. They call me the assassin. So he walks in with George Atkinson, who is another baller. And so these two dudes walk in. These two guys walk in out of a Black Panther movie. And I love these two men, especially George Atkinson, man. We're boys to this day. He goes, I got somebody I want you to meet. I'm doing the show. Tatum walks in. He knows what I think of Jack Tatum. I'm doing radio on KMBR. So Atkinson starts laughing. Tatum sits right in front of me like this. He goes, so you're Dan Sileo? And I'm going, I went like this. Watch me. For a guy that talks tough, I went like this. Yeah. I couldn't do it, man. I went like this. Yeah. And George starts laughing. And Jack goes like this. You know, I size a guy up. If you can't look me in the eye, I go, come on, man. You know better. And he starts laughing at me. I said, and Rod Brooks, who was my partner at the time, he goes like this, man. He goes, Sills, man, I've never seen you at a loss of words. I go, Beanpole. And we had a show called Ebony and Ivory. Rod was black, I'm white. It was really racy, though, the show, but it was great. Gary Radnich to this day says it was too far ahead of its time because we talked about all kinds of things. And Brooks starts laughing. He goes, I've never seen this, man. He goes, I've never seen this guy not talk at all and say, and I go, yeah, man, well, Jack Tatum knocked the words out of you, bro. Hey, Lee, I ended up, finally look at him going like, man, here's the tone setter. All safeties in pro football history are gauged by him. He's not in the Hall of Fame because he paralyzed Darryl Stingley. You all know that. And he was a Raider. They were never going to vote him all pro. Never. He was the assassin. He knocked everything loose. Your chin strap, your helmet off your head. He didn't give a shit. Receiver come across the middle. He was trying to kill you. I always looked at that as, man, this guy plays with a veracity like nobody's business. He plays with an intensity. Okay. Man, he played with an intensity that was just second to none. Hey, Lotus, I love Radnich. I got a great picture. I should post it on my Twitter page. Yeah, hey, Steven. Woody Hayes said he was his greatest player. He said his greatest linebacker was Randy Gradishaw. He said, no, yeah, I think he passed away. Hey, I think that kid Stingley from LSU, I think that's his uncle. You know the kid Stingley that played at LSU? I think that's his uncle, Darryl Stingley. The kid who was the DB at LSU, I think that's his uncle. Oh, man. Hey, John Matuzak is a great example of that, dude. Matuzak was kicked off of every team. He brings him on. Same thing with Alzado. Alzado's another guy that should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Defensive Player of the Year, over 120 sacks. Steroid stuff is going to keep him out, but he's a Hall of Fame football player too. Yeah, Darryl. Yeah, Stingley's passed on. He's passed on. He's no longer around. Yeah, man. Alzado was a phenomenal player too. Atwater had a lot of Jack Tatum in him, man. He really did. A lot of Jack Tatum. Guys, I want to say I really appreciate you guys coming aboard today. Thank you for the hanging in there with us and for the bumpy start. Tone, you got us through it, man. You were phenomenal. You were great, as you always are. We thank you so much for making it happen. By the way, we're very excited about the news. You don't have to put it up, Tone, but our post-game show now with the Eagles is going to be second to none. Nobody is going to have better coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles than what we have here with JAKIB Sports, and we so appreciate everybody coming aboard. For Tone, we thank you. Guys, please hit the like button. We will catch you tomorrow. Seth Joyner will join us tomorrow, 3 to 6 Eastern Time. We'll see you on the flip side.
After a car crash, the big insurance companies you see advertising on TV, they may try to downplay your case and might say it's only a fender bender or it's just a herniated disc. I worry that some law firms fall for this BS. Not us. We put ourselves in your shoes and ask, what would it be like to be in your pain for the rest of our lives? $1 million wouldn't be enough for me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. For the